If you want a drink, well, you come right on in. Just watch your step, cause we're all wanted men.
Where do you get the blue milk?
Don't ask.
All right. Hello and welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the Cantina Club. This time we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have an episode basically themed after our old newsletter that we used to have in our fan club called the Tatooine Times. We're going to read an old article from, I think we're going to go from 1983 when Return of the Jedi was released, and just kind of talk about that and kind of look at it from, an almost 35-year perspective. So don't go anywhere. Come back and we'll jump right into it. All right.
ได้ครับผมครับ
Scum and villainy, yeah, it's a wretched hide. But life ain't always teddy bears, fireworks, and high fives. The folks round here don't care for sand.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Cantina Club. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Gundark here, and we're going to jump into our Tatooine Times episode. Take it away, Gundark.
Okay, I'm looking at an old issue of Tatooine Times, and I'll throw up a screenshot of it from 1983. This is June of 1983. Right now we are recording in June of 2019. So we're looking back to June of 1983, and this is the opening article of Tatooine Times. It's called Some Juicy News for Our Jedi Knights. It says, through a great effort, the club managed to win tickets for all our local club members to the special preview of Return of the Jedi, Tuesday, May 24th at Memphis Malco Quartet.
Nice info there.
Tickets were given away by the Memphis radio station WRVR. The Force was with us in this contest. It was a phoning contest. The Cantina Club has obtained a videotape of the movie Star Wars. Last July, we bought the tape as a birthday present for club member Greedo. The cost of the tape was $121. Tax included, it says.
What? That is great.
I remember that.
$121.
Well, the trick is
We could almost buy our own ship for that.
Yeah, who's gonna pilot it? But the trick was that was bought from like Blockbuster, I think, and they didn't have any for sale copies. So they charged us that because they had to charge what they would get in revenue from renting it as well, I believe is the idea.
Oh, I see.
So it was a copy that hadn't been rented yet, but they technically weren't supposed to sell it. And mom said, "Well, what price is it gonna take or whatever?" Said $120 or $115 or whatever. I thought it was $125. I remember, but that was probably her just saying, this is $125. You treat it like gold.
Yeah, exactly. Don't play soccer with it.
And I think that was on Betamax too.
Yeah.
That was the beta copy, which, believe it or not, you could rent the beta copies back then.
Yeah. And it goes on to say, tapes of Star Wars are available for sale and rental in video shops around the country. In April and May, Star Wars was also released to cable television, which is interesting. This is the first time it was on cable TV. Yeah. Then it gives the, information.
All five channels of cable TV.
Information about our June party. Because we partied all the damn time at the Cantina Club. It was held June 2nd.
Eddie Murphy was there.
It was for the super duper Return of the Jedi party to celebrate Return of the Jedi release and birthday of club member Corellian. Party events included C-3PO's secret mission game. Whatever the hell.
That could be dark.
Yeah, that could go
that could be traumatic. What secret mission could C-3PO possibly want you for?
We're doomed.
Okay, what about this one? It included a Star Wars crazy quiz. Oh, okay.
Star Wars what?
Crazy quiz.
Crazy quiz. As opposed to a sane one.
Yeah, and then a Jedi quiz, and then selections from the Jedi soundtrack. So we must have just bought the soundtrack to the movie. Announcement of the winners of our club's Jedi contest, and a viewing of Star Wars: A New Hope videotape for $121. So that's what we were doing in June at 19, what do we say, 83?
83.
Yeah, and then I read a little snippet from the June 1983 edition of the Tatooine Times, which was the rival newsletter to the Tatooine Times that was put together by the trader.
I like to
Corellian
call
trader.
it complimentary.
Yeah, okay. Whatever, trader. And it opens with something that we talked about before, and we tried to have you read before. The Corellian editorial about the release of Return of the Jedi.
I did read it.
No, I've got to call Corellian on this. I mean, this is his original opinion that would never change.
Oh, I
And
love it.
opinions never change.
He wrote this himself in Tatooine Times, 1983. He has it in front of him. I want him to read it aloud right now. I want him to read it aloud. And I want him to explain.
No lie.
You will never be a justice of the Supreme Court.
All right, fine. I will give Gundark exactly what
Are we not still friends?
Vengeance.
This is a 1983.
load.
Lies.
No, you can't get away with that.
It loaded. I have news for you. It loaded.
Every day, more lies.
I saw it.
Tree people.
Looks like I'm stuck here.
Share the opinion of your younger self. You do
Looks
not.
like I'm stuck here.
Sorry, am I interrupting anything?
Oh, now he's purposefully destroying his feed.
Come on, let's keep a little optimism. Sorry, am I interrupting anything?
Looks like I'm stuck here.
This is literally the old joke of I have a bad connection.
There's something very weak coming through.
See, he's frozen again.
All right, should we try this?
Try
Can you
it.
hear me?
Do
I
it.
can okay. You seem to be resolving, yeah.
Okay. So, Corellian editorial. Well, it finally got here, May 24th.
What is it?
And we finally got to see what we have been
Wait
waiting
a second.
6
Wait, no.
years.
Oh,
Stop.
no.
This is bullshit. You're reading it like a complete douche. I want you to read it with some enthusiasm, love, and belief. I want you to channel your younger self. Get some excitement, dude. Come on, just like you did then. These words came from your brain. Honor them.
Corellian editorial. Well, it finally got here, May 24th. And we finally got to see. Here's the sea. In my opinion, Return of the Jedi was better than either Star Wars or The Empire Strikes Back.
He's right.
Cannot escape your destiny.
No.
He's more machine now than man.
Packed action than Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back combined.
But wait, there's more.
It was filled with many twists and turns that you
What's so funny?
were completely out like I had lived through it myself. All in all, Return of the Jedi are the best of the three, and I would definitely give it a 4-star rating. Included in this issue of the Tatooine Times are several articles on the Return of the Jedi, blah, 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 blah. So there you go.
Yes, and with this one little element here. In my opinion, Return of the Jedi was better than either Star Wars or The Empire Strikes Back. And then I'll read one more time. All in all, Return of the Jedi was by far the best of the three. I would definitely give it a 4-star rating. By far.
The others are about 2.5 on his scale, probably on Tatooine. It's too remote for an effective demonstration.
So, Return of the Jedi astonished.
It knocked him out of focus. The way that he reached from the past and knocked himself out of focus.
Oh my goodness. You know, people wonder why and when I became a traitor.
I know there is good in you.
And it's because of, people like this.
Yes, exactly.
All right, now just real quick, just read that one line that just that summarizes the epic magnificence of the movie as an Imperial officer. Just that one line. You gotta
Which
give us that
line?
one. The best one, about how it has everything and it's better than everything. Since the wheel, it's better than the wheel.
Do it.
Just praise Ewoks. Bow down and worship them.
Do it.
Celebrate the love.
Praise me.
Celebrate the
As an
love.
Imperial officer, a defeated Imperial officer, but still arrogant.
Do it.
Defeated by Ewoks.
All right, hold on. Let me find the sentence. All right.
This is a must have in my
I
collection.
feel something terrible has happened.
In my opinion, Return of the Jedi was better than either Star Wars or The Empire Strikes Back. It had more action than either film combined.
Sealed with the look. Yes.
You cannot escape your destiny.
The magnificence of this film is fully operational.
You make a comment, 40 years ago, and they hold your feet to the iron.
Must be hard.
Gospel. It can never change.
It was in print for a whole planet, several planets to see.
I was kind of caught up in the emotion of the new film.
I feel the
Really,
force.
it's a pale imitation of the first two. Looking back on it now, it had freaking teddy bears for crying out loud. There were no teddy bears in the first two.
Teddy bears. So that was old Tatooine Times and Dantooine Times would have
Still
new.
stand by the crushing blow, though.
Oh yes,
That was
wait,
never changed.
I
That
forgot
was-
to mention that editorial was followed by the 6-7 page summary of Return of the Jedi.
What now? Somebody had
As
a
long
little
as the
bit of time on their
novelization.
hands. 7-page summary.
In which Wedge ended the Empire
The
by his
climax
crushing
of the whole
blow.
thing. Yes, it was all boiled down to Wedge Antilles,
Shocking.
the savior of the rebellion of the galaxy. And then Lando was there too.
It's good stuff.
I love it. That was awesome. But I still have very vivid memories of the day you guys surprised me with the Star Wars beta tape, because I remember Greedo was being very cryptic and saying, come on over, man, hang out, and we got this thing, it's cool, you'll check it out. And I was like, I didn't know what he was talking about. And then eventually somewhere along the line I realized it was a movie. I don't know if he just told me that you guys bought a new bit, but he wouldn't tell me what it was, literally, until you put it in and press play. And that's when suddenly, a long time ago, like, oh my God, you've got Star Wars.
I don't remember that. I didn't realize we didn't tell you.
Yeah, no, it was a total surprise. So, but yeah, I still vividly remember that. We were actually in the room downstairs at the Germantown house, and we watched, because that's where the Betamax was.
Yeah.
And I remember putting it in there and watching it, and we just like sat there on the floor in the bed and watched it.
It was probably on like a 12-inch screen or something too. I mean,
Yeah,
I remember
it wasn't very big.
we didn't. Big screen TVs weren't really the thing.
No,
Although there were some tube TVs that were pretty big, but
of course, but it was still, it was just a standard, basic, probably 20-inch TV or something.
Yeah, there was a distinct difference between watching stuff at home and watching it in the theater. I mean, you would definitely go to the theater if you could.
Yeah, this day and age, it's a completely different experience. Now you can almost recreate the theatrical experience at home with in-home theater systems and things, and huge screen. I mean, right now my backup television in my den is like a 55-inch screen. It's like a backup. Not even our main television.
I remember feeling guilty about that tape because just how ridiculously expensive it was, but also just my burning absolute desire to have it. And then I'm sure I was sad when I was told we couldn't get it because it was so expensive or whatever. And then I think Mom just went and got it. Yeah, after I'd been told it probably wasn't going to happen because it was too expensive. And if we had just waited a while, and eventually people were copying tapes, and we were too eventually, so we could have rented it and copied it or something. But it was a much more difficult process back then to get a hold of anything like that. Well, like I said, cable channels, I'd love to know how many there were in 1983, but that wasn't long after we got cable for the first time. We got cable for the
Yeah.
first time, maybe
There was roughly
1980.
around 30 channels, I think, about at that point.
I think it might have been later than that, 81, 82, maybe.
And that was
Mhm.
about the time that Channel 30 in Memphis debuted too. Remember, that was like
Yeah.
a big deal that there was
Like a
cha-
UHF channel, I think
Yeah.
is what it went by. Yeah.
And I don't even, does Channel 30 even exist anymore
I
in
don't think
Memphis? I don't
so.
know. But yeah, it was a really cool channel because they just did different stuff, and it was one more channel to check out, and they had other things that were from what do you call it? Shows that reruns and stuff like that. And then there was Channel 24 followed that, and Channel 24 eventually became ABC, moved to that slot or whatever. So, and 13 used to be ABC on our little, turn dial televisions and stuff in Memphis. So, but 24 and 30 were on the UHF band. You had to turn it to the UHF controller and then switch until you tuned in one of those channels.
Yeah.
So it was like opening a safe. You had to be a safe cracker.
No, it
Just
really
to tune in
was.
these channels back in the day. Then we eventually got cable boxes, which were those clack 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 clack.
Yeah,
when you
zip
did
up
it.
Yeah.
slider. Yeah,
Oh
You had
my
a
God, I
glowing,
forgot
glowing
that.
panel, and you just clack 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 clack. It looked like something from old Star Wars,
It did.
It was like a white tab, and if that ever broke off, you were like, "Oh God, we got to reach in there and
You got to
about
reach
your
inside
channel."
those teasers or something.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't remember the Star Wars being on cable at that time, but it was a big deal when it was shown on TV. I remember it being on commercial, like the regular channels, like CBS or something showed it.
Yeah.
And they also did a special, remember, where Mark Hamill came on and talked about, or Billy Williams or somebody, and then they showed the movie. But I don't remember it being on cable.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, the
They
first
had
time
a
it premiered was like a big deal. They're like, this is the first time it's been on network television or whatever. And they had I want to say it was Mark Hamill, but
I think you're right. I think you're right. I wonder if we could find that anywhere. Yeah, and then we recorded it with our beta recorder at some point and dubbed over it and made our own version of Star
yes,
Wars.
yes,
I
we
remember
dubbed many different versions of that.
Yeah, I remember we would actually have dubbing parties.
Yeah.
There'd be like 6 of us over there passing the mic back and forth.
I like the moments like when Luke comes back from the homestead being burned, and he's walking past C-3PO who's holding a Jawa, and C-3PO goes, "Do you want a Jawa?" So Luke, as he's walking past, Did
And
you like a Jawa?
we used an electric razor for the sound of the lightsabers.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And you were a great Chewbacca. Gundark. I always like the idea of Chewbacca just talking though instead of growling, just saying stuff.
Which is what I love, like some of the behind the scenes stuff of the first film, where you can actually hear Peter Mayhew talking.
Yeah.
He's like, "That man's mad."
That old man's mad. You said it, Chewie.
And when Obi-Wan leaves from the control room, that's
Or
hilarious.
that scene in Empire Strikes Back where he's actually cursing Han out when Han is telling him, "Why did you take that apart right now?" And he's like, "What the hell?"
What? Where the hell have you been? Where have you been?
Damn you, damn it.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God, Chewie.
I remember too that first Betamax copy when we got to watch it, over whenever we wanted to, and that was the first time I was aware of some of the special effects issues, kind of with Star Wars. I think on the re-release in the theater, I noticed some of them, but it became very
Same
apparent when you
here,
could watch it again. Especially the green screen blending, which they've fixed now in most of the things that have come after. But at the time, the TIE fighters, like if you had 3 TIE fighters on screen, you had 3 green screens like moving with them. The green screens
Yeah, you can see literally the square pattern behind them, kind of adjusting and moving with the TIE fighter.
Because this was all new technology. They'd photograph them at a certain size and then have to shrink. You have to, shrink the image.
Guys, I'll be right back. Sorry.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Or do we have any other things to wrap up with on Tatooine Time?
Well,
Tatooine Times?
Yeah, I will say that if you remember, we had to call that the WRVR like for hours straight to try to get the second pass because it was 2 people per pass. And I want to say John won the first.
It was John. Yeah, John won the
and
first
so then
one.
John was in the position of trying to figure out who he takes with him.
Right. Like who
Which
goes
would-
with him and
and
what
it
2
was-
people don't get to go.
Right. And it was so we couldn't bear the thought of us all not seeing it together. Like somebody seeing it first was just kind of a horrible thought. So we called the radio station. I remember at least from the afternoon on all the way into the night, every chance that we were listening and every chance they were giving those away, we called. And that's where we also have our signed Mark Hamill poster from.
Right.
Is from that preview screening of Jedi.
Oh yeah,
That
we
was
won the
given by
poster
the radio
with
station.
the ticket. Yeah, the
Yeah.
poster came with the ticket. So yeah,
And
I
we
forgot
still
that.
have, if I can find it, or if we have pictures of it, I'll post it in this. But we still have the original invitation from WRVR that said "Return of the Jedi" on it. So I wanted to say that, and that was one of the first, like, kind of what they call fan screenings now that they do as a typical thing. But I remember there was a Darth Vader there, right? And there was people in costume there, and there was a DJ from the radio station, asking trivia questions and stuff before the movie. And I also wanted to say, what was the other thing discussed in there?
The party, or let me see.
Oh, the quiz.
The quiz.
The quiz winner and stuff was the thing that we followed up on for. Was it The Last Jedi, or that we did a quiz for? Which,
Oh
wow.
yeah.
Was it The Last Jedi, or was it the
Yeah,
Force
no, Last Jedi.
I think
Okay.
it was Last Jedi.
Yeah. So we did a quiz. We did a quiz almost 40 years later. Like we did a Return of the Jedi quiz that asked, what do you think is going to happen in the movie? And it had nonsensical, funny questions and serious questions. And just, just to establish, we did that again for The Last Jedi. So that was fun too.
The idea, was rooted in what we did 35 years ago.
Right.
And one other thing, because it's kind of related to this, this was the first time I ever experienced a spoiler. It was right around this time, right before Return of the Jedi was the first thing that ever produced a spoiler for me.
Oh.
And to this day, it was just like, I hated that, because it was, if you guys remember, you'll probably remember this, but I don't know that I've ever actually talked about this with you guys. But Starlog magazine came out with an issue right before it came out, and when you open the front cover, it folded out into a trifold shot of the Star Destroyer, or the new Star Destroyer being built with a Death Star being built with a Star Destroyer flying towards it.
Right.
And we didn't know that was happening yet. And I so there's a new Death Star. And I remember being completely bummed by that. I was like, okay. I mean, I think I was actually bummed 2 times, because one, I didn't want to know that before I see the film, and second, I was like, another Death Star?
Yeah. That
Really,
wasn't cool to
something
any of
else
us back then, really. Yeah. We didn't understand that was the end of the first movie, just extended. Like, Lucas didn't know he was going to have 3 movies, so he put the end of the third movie at the end of the first one. And so he's like, well, what do I do for the third one now? He kind of had to revisit it or whatever, but yeah, that goes right up there with the caption. I don't know if it was Starlog or one of the other magazines that had Luke and Vader in the elevator, and the caption said, Vader takes a manacled Luke before the Emperor.
Yeah.
What talk about a spoiler. It's like, we had no idea the Emperor was even going to be in the movie or anything. And
I about had a heart attack, because the first time I read it, I thought it said a mangled Luke.
Right.
Vader takes a mangled Luke before the Empire. No! Mangled.
But one of the questions, I was just saying, one of the questions in our original quiz was, is the caption, all in caps, true?
Is the caption true?
That was the caption. The infamous caption. I went back and found the magazine.
Because the funny thing is about that, because it was the caption that was the spoiler. The photo really wasn't, because that shot was actually in the original trailer. So you see that shot of the doors opening and Luke and Vader standing side by side. But it was the fact that they said, they explained that he's, in shackles and being taken from the Emperor.
There's a difference between building anticipation and giving away too much, and that was definitely giving away too much. So anyway, Tatooine Times. Have you got the cover there to show us? June of '83.
See, this is the June.
Yep. Very cool.
Nice. Very good. Very good.
And this one is Tatooine Times.
Oh, much better.
Oh,
Far
Moff
superior.
Bergerod.
I don't know. There's just something about that name that really jumps out at me. No, those definitely bring back a lot of memories.
Well, we ready to move on to current news?
Sure.